All right, so while I had the hood up, I figured I would go ahead and do the lights before we finish up putting the hood on and the water pump. So I'm right in the middle of the water pump. I don't know which one. I guess I'll post the water pump video first, so you probably saw that, and magically lights appeared. But yeah, so here's the video of doing the lights. I wasn't gonna video this, and then I was like, well, I started running into more and more stuff, and I figured I'd go ahead and show y'all what all I found. So the way these mount, they mount up here, you've got a swivel right here, and then you've got a nut right here that holds it. There's a hole in this bolt that lets your wire go through, and then this plate right here is the end of that bolt. So what you've got, and what the problem I ran into, no telling when these things have been off. This one was loose, so I had to tighten them, and I could not get it. I could not hold this. I didn't want to mess up the end of the threads here by putting vice grips or something on it. It would have been nice if they put like an Allen, if this was a hex hole, but it's not. You know, you could put just an Allen key in there and hold it. I guess originally, you know, it was just a friction and it would hold it tight enough, but I ended up, of course, that's your pivot. So I got it exactly where I wanted it, which these brackets are bent in. So I pushed it to where it was, you know, the most straight, and I can get a little bit more out of it by fixing that bend right there. And I went ahead and I tacked it all around in here, and because the other issue I had, I couldn't get a ground here, and that hole's a little small to get two wires in, you know, for a ground and a thing. So what originally happened was you had this right here, this went right there, and it's supposed to make contact with that plate, and that makes sure you have a good ground. Well, that doesn't work when everything's rusty. I cleaned everything up, I still couldn't get a good ground, and so I was like, well, you know what, I'll tack it, because I had two issues. So I tacked it all around. These lights are pretty beat up. They've got dents all in them. They've been, you know, you got a big dent there. Same thing with this one, huge dent right there. These are not, these are just functional lights. These are not usable lights. This one was loose, the rivets were loose. I tried, you know, knocking them tighter and I couldn't. So we went ahead and tacked a few spots around the bracket here. Didn't burn through or anything. Just to tighten that light up. And I went ahead and did the tacks around here as well, so I could get a good ground. That ties this bracket up, ties it into the rest of the hood, which should have a good ground. So now I've got a ground wire attached, and I'll run my wires through. I've got some of this wire loom stuff. I'll run them all through there. We'll cross over to here, up here, tie wrap it along here. You can see you've got some spots here, and then we will run it down straight along with this harness, my alternator and other harness. We'll run it along with that one up to our switch, which I installed a while back, but never hooked anything up to it. So that's how we're going to do it. I don't know yet if I'm going to hook up my gauge lights. Probably not. I'll probably just leave them unhooked. I really don't think I'm going to be using it much at night. It just looks awful with no headlights. So I'm going to go ahead and start wiring this up. I dropped one of the screws. I gotta find it. The one that goes in this ground. So I'll find that when it drops somewhere down here. I'll find it, put that ground wire on there, and we'll run the rest of the... I'm running 14 gauge. That should be plenty for, these are 35 watt lights. They are not high powered. So 14 gauge wire should be plenty. That's what, about 3 amps? Should pull about 3 amps. So should plenty tough enough. Plenty big enough. Alright, so let me get that ground on there, find that screw, and we will continue on with mounting these lights. Alright, this one is in. I'm going to take the ring back out though, because the light is just a little bit loose. That's what I did before I put this one in, and I probably should have done it on the other one, and that's what I'm going to do on the other one, is I wrapped the outside of it with some black tape just to give it a cushion and a little tighter fit. And so this one is ready to go in, just like that. It's got a little notch it fits in right here, right there. And same on the other side. So it's in, and we just gotta put the ring on it. And the ring is somewhere. Let's find the ring. I set it down over here somewhere. Take this one off. This is what I've got for the wiring coming out. Goes into a loom, goes up, tie wraps up there, comes back down. This one comes over, they tie together here and continue on. And I will bundle these up with this once I get the hood down. So now we're at the part where we can let the hood down as soon as I get this light in there. Headlight wiring is done. So here's the wiring on this thing. Part of the harness I reused when I originally wired this thing because it looked like it was a replacement harness, and that's the one for the ignition switch. Other than that, the ignition switch and the starter button wiring I left. Other than that, I rewired the whole thing. You can see all the wiring I did. I put it in the wire covering. Have to tie wrap some of that up. And there, up here, I'm gonna have to find some way to attach this up in there somewhere. But for now, it's good. Headlight wiring. We'll make sure that that doesn't hit the fan. Yep, we're clear. And we're good on that side. So, should be in good shape. So, like I said, I was doing the water pump as I was doing the headlights. Flip the switch on, and we've got working headlights. So, just one thing off the list. I threw this old amp meter back in the hole just to cover the hole up. My voltmeter has disappeared that I had for this thing. So for now, I threw the amp meter in there. If I find the voltmeter, I'll put it in there. If not, we'll leave that in there for now. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below hit the like button and subscribe for more.